There is no medium quite like the wonderful world of video games. In any other art form, a botched release, a bad story, or terrible delivery would instantly sink your product. There are no day one patches, no content updates, or graphical improvements. You make it and then you're finished. Video games, therefore, are in a unique situation where death isn't the end. In this video, we take a look at dead video games that have risen from their grave. Routine. Routine was recently revealed at the Summer Game Fest Showcase livestream, and a lot of people didn't realize it's actually a game that was announced 10 years ago. Apparently, there was a game called Routine in the works by a small development team. It was an interesting sci-fi concept, but according to reports, about 5 years into development as they were getting towards the end, the project just wasn't coming along great. They weren't satisfied with it. So they decided to completely scrap it and start from square one. Part of the reason why this has taken so long is because it's a small team. But the development of the game picked up steam, and they linked up with publisher Raw Fury to work out some of the funding and the overall publishing of the game. And now, we finally got our first brief, quick look. And to be honest, even though it's a very brief look, it's cool. Some very scary atmospheric hallways, and just a hard cyberpunk-style design like the actual genre, not the CD Projekt Red game. The thing that we thought was the coolest was the weapon. The weapon just looks like some old analog PC hardware, and not like your typical gun or laser blaster or anything like that, which leads us to believe that this game is going to be a little bit more creative than people might expect. We're happy this game is back in the fold straight up. As of right now, it doesn't have an official release date, but according to them, it's now finally coming in 2023. Bayonetta 3. Things are finally looking up for Bayonetta 3. This action combat game is something that we've been waiting for a really long time, because Bayonetta 1 and Bayonetta 2 were really kick-ass. Bayonetta 2 was the reason many got a Wii U just to play the game. It was really embarrassing, but the game was awesome. So Bayonetta 3, it's been a long time coming, and we really mean that. Bayonetta 3 was announced all the way back at the Game Awards in 2017, and after that we didn't really hear a lot other than the occasional Platinum Games interview where they were talking about another game they're working on. Then in 2019, we finally got a more positive update with the development apparently quite well, according to Platinum Games studio head Atsushi Inaba. And then thankfully there was a Nintendo Direct September 2021 that gave us the first real official trailer for Bayonetta 3. Now initially back in 2017, all we got was a vague announcement with a logo and some icons from the game. Where this new trailer in 2021 is straight up a game trailer. We got to see cutscenes, we got to see the gameplay, we got to see the new style for the main character, fighting huge enemies, a city-like setting, and we're pretty easy to be pleased with these games. We love the combat, and it looks like what we got here is some Bayonetta. Now during that September 2021 game trailer reveal, the game was confirmed to actually be releasing in 2022, but 2022 is moving along pretty quick. At the time of this video, it's already summer. So we're just really hoping we actually get to see it in this year or in 2023. Scorn. The first-person horror game was actually announced in November 2014. The trailer showed kind of like pre-alpha footage. There was a whole Kickstarter campaign that didn't quite meet expectations, but the developers stuck with it. And eventually, it found funding to be a fully published, fully developed game. Now Scorn, if you're not familiar, is what we call here the Gross game. It's a first-person, seemingly horror adventure, very much inspired by the art style of H.R. Giger, or H.R. Giger, one of the minds behind a lot of the original designs and concepts of Alien and Aliens. Besides Alien, he was known for a lot of just super wild, out-there art, and this game absolutely seems to be celebrating it. From the environment design to some of the objects the player is using, but this game seems to take it an even further level with just some really gross stuff. In 2017, it had more crowdfunding, but the game was really quiet. It kind of ebbed and flowed. And eventually, we got word that Xbox and Microsoft were going to back it, and even then the game went radio silent for quite a while, only to now, years later, finally, triumphantly return at the 2022 Xbox Bethesda game showing for the Summer Game Fest thing. And we got a good lengthy trailer looking at more enemies, looking at more stuff for the game. It's still hard to get a feel on exactly how this game will play, but it sure looks cool. And after years of delays and years of silence, it finally has a full release date that, hopefully, it will meet. It is slated for PC and Xbox release on October 21st, 2022. The Callisto Protocol. Now, to be fair, this game had a smaller window where it dropped off, but we still wanted to talk about it, because it looks like it's going to be a significant release. The game is directed by Glenn Schofield. the guy who was one of the co-creators of the Dead Space series. And this game is straight up an unabashed spiritual successor to those games. This is a great video game. A third-person action, survival horror, linear adventure. That's always the type of games that we love here, and so we're really rooting for it. The game had a really cool splashy announcement trailer at the 2020 Games Awards. And after that, the game pretty much went silent only to re-emerge now in the summer of 2022 with a Game Informer Deep Dive magazine reveal and a big lengthy new trailer and a bunch of gameplay videos at the Summer Game Fest. So basically, after that cool but kind of cryptic announcement trailer, we were kind of left just hanging in there. We now know the game is gory, it's scary. We really hope the full release lives up to its potential. If it meets its release date, it is officially slated for December 2nd, 2022. Hollow Knight Silksong. This one's kind of like a meme at this point. This is the long-awaited follow-up to 2017's absolutely fantastic Hollow Knight. It was a Metroidvania-style action-adventure game that was really challenging, and it had a completely unique art style and vibe, and it was really addictive. It was released first on PC but eventually saw its way to all the major platforms, and people just loved it. So when Hollow Knight Silksong, the follow-up, was announced, people were hooked. It was announced in February 2019, and when we got to take a look at it, it looked pretty far along. It looked substantial. A new playable character, cool new enemy types, more intriguing levels, faster gameplay. Hornet seemed awesome, and people were really excited to play. We got an extended gameplay demo at E3 2019, and after that, that was really it. In June 2022, during the Xbox Bethesda Game Showcase, we finally got a new look at the game and confirmation that, yes, it still does exist, and it's seemingly still coming out. Interestingly enough, out of all the trailers at the Xbox Bethesda Game Showcase, this is the only one that didn't have any sort of release date pop up at the end of the trailer, not even just a window year. That being said, Xbox did say that everything shown during that event will release within the next 12 months, as long as nothing is delayed. So technically, we could be getting Hollow Knight Silksong fairly soon, within a year. We really hope that's the case. Witchfire. This awesome-looking first-person action game really turned some heads when it was first announced, just for its distinct style, its unique weapons, cool enemy types, and spooky vibe. It really hooked us when it was announced at the 2017 Game Awards. After that, and the trailer though, things went completely quiet. Obviously, with the pandemic, a lot of games went pretty quiet. Thankfully, at the 2022 Summer Game Fest, we got a new trailer and a bunch of spicy gameplay, and the news that the game is coming to early access towards the second half of 2022. That being said, the developers did reiterate that the game will not release until they are completely happy with it because they want to make a good first impression. And we're down with that. Dragon Age 4. Dragon Age 4 was announced at the Game Awards in 2018, and since then, the game has been kind of dead. Yes, it very much seems like a team is very much working on it, but as of right now, they are still definitely not showing anything really significant to the general public. And it just seems amplified because the people that love Dragon Age really love Aragon Age. So when there's nothing, or even when there's a little something that pops up, it goes pretty wild. We've gotten concept art videos during EA Things. We've gotten cinematic trailers. We've gotten news that behind the scenes there was some trouble with development, or really them not knowing how to market the game. But now, after the drip feed has been really quiet for a while in June 2022, we got an official reveal of the game's actual title. It's not called Aragon Age 4, it's called Dragon Age Dreadwolf. So now, this leads us to believe our thing is gonna start ramping up? They've been working on this for quite a while, and things have been quiet. Is now the time where we're gonna start seeing cool trailers and more details about the game? We don't know for sure, but we just hope when it does actually release, it's good, and it lives up to the whole Dragon Age hype. System Shock Remake. System Shock was an absolutely revolutionary PC game from 1994, and this remake, developed by Night Dive Studios, started to become a thing in 2016 with a Kickstarter campaign. But things kept moving forward when in February the development of the game was confirmed to be on hold, on hiatus, and that really worried people. Apparently, the game, the remake of it, was getting a little bit too ambitious. And with some updates and just new things being added to the game, they maybe got ahead of themselves and had to refocus development. After 2018, it was dead for 2 years until in 2020, there was an alpha demo released. Then after that, a bunch of things went down. The pandemic, the development slowdowns that result from that, to changing hands, to changes behind the scenes in terms of who is working on the game. And after so many back and forths, the game is actually back in the news. In June of 2020, the game hit the internet again with a new and very impressive game trailer. And as of now, the game has been delayed and pushed so many times, but right now at the time of making this, it's slated for PS5, PS4, all of the Xbox Series, and PC for Steam and Epic Game Store sometime in 2022. Those were some games that kind of died off and bounced back. Hope you enjoyed this list. Thanks for watching.